What's happening, YouTube? Intergalactic Brew again, live and in effect. Got to talk about UFC 131 this Saturday, 10 o'clock. Sorry, 9 o'clock. What's up with this new time now? You know, are the times really changing that much? I guess they are. But anyway, UFC 131. I'd say from a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably give it maybe like a 7. You know, it'll be good for what it's worth. Let's just put it like that. One thing I want to point out before I get into the matches, I think people need to stop, kind of hyping up this Lesnar Dos Santos fight too much, or so much, I should say, because I would have much rather seen Brock Lesnar and Dos Santos square off than Carwin and Dos Santos, for the simple fact that Brock Lesnar actually stays in good condition. And even though his striking might not be there, I know everybody wants to criticize Brock for his striking and everything because he did get, TKO'd by Cain Velasquez, and he almost got TKO'd by Shane Carwin. But, I mean, we can't assume anything because we don't know how Brock would have prepared for Dos Santos. So we gotta stop being prisoners of the moment, folks. Stop buying in so much of what other folks are saying. If you want something done right, or if you want to find out something, do it yourself. Okay, like for real, because people are very manipulative, and they're very influencing, or they can be very influencing, as far as telling you one thing and making you think another. So just a little light tip right there. But anyway, let's get down to the real thing. UFC 131. First fight, Donald Cerrone, Wagner Hocha. Don't really know too much about Hocha other than, his jiu-jitsu, I heard, is supposed to be top of the line. And that's pretty much it. Donald Cerrone, on the other hand, I've heard about this guy for a couple of years now. I know I've seen him fight a few times in the WEC. He was one of the top guys there. Came close to winning the WEC lightweight title on a few occasions, if I'm not mistaken. I know he fought Ben Henderson one time. I know he fought Jamie Varner one time when Varner was the champion. So, Donald Cerrone, he's one of the best lightweights in the world. And his skill set really, really displays that. He has a very extensive kickboxing background in Muay Thai. He's very good in jiu-jitsu as well. I believe he's a brown belt or a black belt. I'm not sure which one. But he's one of those. So his grappling skills are on par. He's a very intelligent guy. Very aggressive. He's athletic as well. He's a tall guy. One of the bigger lightweights I've seen since Gray Maynard and obviously Joe Daddy Stevenson and Gleison Tebow as well. But I think Donald Cerrone has the edge coming into this fight just because he's going to be more well-rounded and is more well-rounded than Hocha is. And I think Cerrone is smart enough to know that Hocha's jiu-jitsu fighting is probably superior than his, although I don't know. You could argue that Cerrone's jiu-jitsu is just as superior as his. But anyway, um, I think Cerrone is going to have most of the advantages in this fight. Um, he's going to probably look to use his jab to create distance. That way, that'll open up the leg kicks. Going to throw some combinations in there. Maybe a couple of flying knees. He'll probably press him up against the cage some, since Hocha will be the smaller man in this fight, and probably throw some elbows and put him in the tie clinch, let him eat a few knees, and maybe eventually he'll end up catching him, maybe like with a right hook or a straight jab to the chin, wobble him, take him down, and probably just pound him out with ground and pound punches. So I'm going to say Donald Cerrone wins this fight, TKO, early second round. Yeah, that's about right. Okay, next fight we have, or at least the next fight that I want to discuss, is going to be John Olav Einemo taking on Dave Pee Wee Herman. John Einemo, from what I hear, is a extremely talented grappler, former Abu Dhabi Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion. I know that he's coming off a 4 to 5 year hiatus from the sport because of some illness he suffered. So that will definitely be a factor in this fight. It'll probably slow him down a little bit. So I guess you don't have no choice but to take Dave Pee Wee Herman in this fight. I mean, after all, he has been the more consistent fighter, been fighting in different territories around the country, Japan. I think he fought in Bellator for a little bit too, if I'm not mistaken. So he's been around the corner a few times, and I do believe that he will attempt to keep this fight standing up. Although I do believe he does have a good chance of submitting Einemo too at the same time. But I don't know. We'll see. But he can definitely outstrike Einemo, since that's not Einemo's strongest skill anyway. If Einemo does try to take him down, depending on how he tries to take him down, I think Einemo will be able to stuff it with ease. He's got good balance, good takedown defense, and he's the bigger guy, and I believe if he takes Einemo down, I believe that he can well, I'm not going to say easily get them out. Let me not get too carried away here. But I believe that he can wear on Einemo, being that, Einemo's been away for so long, and he's been having to kind of rebuild, that strength and that endurance and all that stuff. And I just think, as big as Dave Herman is, I think with all that bulk and all that mass on top of Einemo, I think he'll be able to, exhaust him a little bit. But at the same time, Herman's got to be careful as well, because Einemo is a black belt and he is a world champion, and he can very well submit Herman off of his back. So Herman must be careful. But I think what's going to end up happening is, I think that this fight is going to stay standing up. I think Herman is just going to completely beat him to the punch every time, with Muay Thai knees and punches and kicks. And I think he's going to end up rocking him with a big shot. and Inamo's gonna tumble, and I think Herman's gonna take his back and choke him out with a rear naked, and I say that'll happen. I'm gonna say maybe late in the second round. I'll say that. So Pee Wee Herman, late second round submission. Next fight, Damian Maia, Mark Munoz. With this fight, I was discussing this on an MMA show that I have with my co-host and my good friend Kurt Johnson. It's called MMAmayhem.blogspot.com. We recently just did a show yesterday. Well, I mean not yesterday, but Wednesday. And this was one of the main fights that we were discussing. And I was kind of hesitant to pick Damian Maia in this fight just for the simple fact that his striking is very raw and very basic compared to Mark Munoz's, even though Mark Munoz's striking is, far from great either. But, he still has his power to depend on. So, there you go. And we know that Damian Maia and striking do not get along. A.K.A. Nate Marquardt, a.k.a. Anderson Silva, even though Anderson Silva BS'd in that fight and didn't finish it. But anyway. So Damian Maia, if he's going to stand up with Mark Munoz, I think he just needs to be faster. I think he needs to jab and then, get out, open the distance back up. Maybe throw some leg kicks in there, kind of confuse Munoz a little bit, circle to Munoz's left side. Maybe throw a couple of combinations, maybe put a right cross in there, throw another leg kick, and then when Munoz commits, basically just take him down. And once the fight hits the mat with Damian Maia on top, I think that's pretty much a wrap for Mark Munoz, because Damian Maia, even though he might not be as big and as strong as Munoz is, has very good control from the top and from the back of his opponents, particularly when he takes his opponent's back. He's just completely like an octopus, pretty much. I mean, the Boy Scouts couldn't even come and get Damian Maia off of you when he has your back. But I think when the fight hits the ground, being that Maia, does have good control, I think he's going to be able to control Munoz, and I think he'll be able to submit him. One thing that I would suggest for Damian Maia when the fight does hit the ground, and that's just be patient, and let the submission come to you. Don't look for it, because I think that's what happened with Mario Miranda when he fought him. He just got a little bit impatient, and he was so anxious to get the submission that he ended up losing the submission attempts. So he just needs to be real patient with Mark Munoz and just look for his openings, then take the submission when it's there. And I think that's what he's going to do. And I think that he's going to win this fight by submission with a rear naked choke in the third round. Damian Maia. Okay, co-main event. Diego Nunes, Kenny Florian. I'm going to make this real short and sweet. Diego Nunes, I've heard he's a talented guy, good striker, puts a lot of pressure on his opponents, very fast, very tough. Kenny Florian, he's dropping down in weight to featherweight. All I got to say is that if Kenny Florian is in good condition, if the weight cut doesn't get the best of him, he will win the fight. He's a lot more well-rounded standing up and on the ground, and I think he can take Diego Nunes down because he's the bigger, stronger man, and he's the taller man, and I think if the fight hits the ground, it's over, and I could see Kenny Florian submitting Diego Nunes either with an armbar or a rear naked choke, and I say it'll probably happen somewhere maybe early third round.